Hey, Stephen Yanni here at Bernardston Auto Wrecking in Bernardstown, Massachusetts, doing the hubcap game, not the junkyard crawl, we do that as well, but about every 7th show we do the hubcap games. This is the 23rd installment, so let's get started. Okay, this is a Dodge hubcap. We know that. We see the Fratzog, which of course has been reintroduced thanks to the new Charger Banshee, which is kind of cool, the electric one. But this is from 1967, I would say, right here, seen on a Dodge Coronet. A B-body, definitely not seen on full-size cars, but Dodge Darts could be seen with these things in 67. So sort of the corporate deluxe wheel cover. Ah, yes, if you love your Chevy 427 Biscayne, 1968, I would say this is, or 69 even, this is what you're going to find. This is truly a hubcap as opposed to a wheel cover because it covers the hub, the lug nuts and the wheel center, etc. But this is something you'd find on a 6-cylinder Biscayne or a 427 Biscayne, you'd call it. Cool stuff. Taxi cabs as well. Okay. Here's the red lucite of the Pontiac Le Mans. I'm going to say 1970, 71, maybe even 72, but certainly 70 Pontiac Le Mans. And again, this has been tinted with some blue paint. Somebody sprayed over this thing, who knows what, but this is definitely Pontiac stuff. I don't think you can get these on a GTO, but anyway, 70 Pontiac Le Mans, or Le Mans. There's no way I will ever say Renault. Okay, and this, oh boy, oh, yuck. Okay, I'm going to say this is Fox Body Ford Thunderbird right here. This is a plastic wheel cover, and I'm pretty sure this is from like an 81 or so Ford Thunderbird, which was based on the Fox platform / Fairmont / Granada 2nd gen. So that's what we got there, plastic. By contrast, Buick, the Tri-Shield right here, and this is a metal fake wire wheel cover. This is something you would have seen like on a late 70s, early 80s full-size Buick. I believe it's a 15, hard to say, but look at all the separate pieces on this thing. All the fasteners and, you know, the amount of effort that went into making this thing, probably not that far from an actual real wheel, wire wheel, just saying. More fake wire wheel, but this one's a little nicer. Chevrolet Caprice, 1977, maybe 78, but this is fallen in a full-size, downsized Chevy Caprice from Impala perhaps as well. And this would have been 1977, 78, but it's a very different design and structure altogether. And it makes you wonder, how many ways can you skin a cat? These are the same, but they're not the same. The only thing I think they might share perhaps is this metal part right here and the way they're made. We can see that looks to be about the same, almost everything about it, almost. But again, they're very different caps otherwise. My vote goes to Chevrolet because I can see air, which makes them look way more realistic than the blacked out stuff seen on the Buick wheel cover over there. Speaking of spokes and fake spokes and Thunderbirds, it says, it speaks for itself, Thunderbird. 1967 Thunderbird. This is going to be the 4th generation, 3rd generation T-Bird. The first one to be available with a 4-door body, 67, 8, 9, that kind of a T-Bird. And again, this is the wheel cover from one of those. Again, stainless steel with, again, the iron or ferrous metal, rustable, I should say, steel retainer ring. But again, nice use of argent paint in the textured area right here. And again, the vents right here kind of help. And these cars could be Howard disc brakes up front, which is a nice way to sort of kind of vent some of the heat from the front disc brakes. But again, Thunderbird 67. Oh, more Ford here. This looks kind of generic. There's no logo, there's no Ford, nothing, but this is a 1959 Ford right here. The Ford retractable, remember that thing, that crazy, the Skyliner, I think it was, they called it. These are the wheel covers you've seen on that. One piece, kind of chintzy, really, but again, 59 Ford full-size right here. And a year before that, 1958, Chevrolet Impala right here, 58 Impala, and the cross flags. Again, we see the fleur-de-lis, or whatever they call that thing, the checkered flag here, Chevrolet's logos, and the faux spokes and aluminum brake drum. You're not fooling me, but it does look good. The stylized spinner, kind of, sort of knockoff-ish. And again, a one-piece cover here with multiple strikes required to create the crimps and the folds, and a piece of industrial art right there. I love it. And a little later on, the Chevy Citation from the 1980s, what, 1981, I think, 81 was Chevy's first full-sized or mid-sized front-wheel drive car, not including, of course, the GM cars of Tornado, Eldorado, but Chevrolet's first front-wheel drive car, the Citation. This is the deluxe wheel cover seen on them, and it does have a textured argent paint, this sort of detail inside of here. Nicely done. I'd see these things on Chevy Citations all over the place back in the day. And again, it's a one-piece stamping. And again, a little Chevy bow tie gets pushed through there. It's a one-way deal, kind of cool. But again, I think a 14, maybe a 13-inch, 14-inch wheel on that thing. But gives me a stomach ache. You want to see the front-wheel drive era. All right. Okay, this one here is kind of a mystery unless you know your Massachusetts history, and you can see that sailing ship, Plymouth Rock. Yes, a Plymouth wheel cover. I'm going to say 1948, 49, something like that. This is before 1955 when V8s finally became available, the high-fire V8, the 277 Poly engine in a Plymouth. This was strictly flathead 6 o'clock right here, but again, kind of a cool piece, one-piece stainless steel stamping, and look how shiny and nice that is. My gosh, it's almost like a little, like a kitchen dish or something like that. It's that clean, you can almost eat off it. Almost. But anyway, Plymouth right there. Here's the Mayflower coming at you. Plymouth Rock, get it? Ha ha ha. 1928, first year for Plymouth. And what, 2000, I think was the last year, something like that. Somebody will correct me, but Plymouth. And yes, this one speaks for itself. Dodge. This is the Dodge corporate wheel cover, 14-incher, seen in 73, 4, 5, 6, like that. Dodge Darts, Dodge Coronets. Never on the 15-inch cars. It's a 14-inch wheel. But again, this is the Dodge corporate wheel cover, seen on everything from Dart to Charger. Challenger, I believe, even could have had these things in 73, the 318 car. But there it is, Dodge wheel cover. Okay, early 70s right here. This is going to be the Pontiac Ventura 2, which was 1972, 3, 4, 5, or 4. And again, this is a 14-inch wheel, and this is basically Pontiac's version of the Chevy Nova, the Ventura 2. And again, a one-piece stamping here with kind of a cool little peekaboo thing like that right there, the see-through, cut-through, stamp-through. And I always wondered to myself, when these things go from a flat plate of stainless steel to this form here, the little pieces that are stamped out, where does that pile of little remnants, discards wind up? Do they melt it down? Does it become tomorrow's wheel cover? Don't know, but somewhere there's a bunch of little pieces that are stamped out on the floor that came from the parent piece of metal that made this wheel cover. Just saying. All right. Getting back to that Plymouth Rock, this is about a 1974 full-size Plymouth wheel cover right here. And if you look at that right there from the front, that's a sailing ship coming in your direction. Yeah, Plymouth. And a lot of people don't see that. I didn't see it for years and years, but I mean, it's open to interpretation. It's sort of a Rorschach test. But to me, that's a Plymouth. That's a ship coming at you. This is Plymouth, mid-70s, full-size right there. All right. Ooh, okay. Well, this speaks for itself. Mustang, 1971, 2 and 3, 14-inch wheel. This is a Mustang deluxe wheel cover seen on the third-generation Mustang, the big one, based on the Torino. These are big cars, the big fastbacks. And of course, in 71, the 429 Super Cobra Jet 4-speed. After 72, 3, they were strictly small block, 351, 302, 250, 6-bangers. But this is the wheel cover right here that was on a lot of them back in the day. And again, it speaks for itself, Ford Mustang. Okay, and Chevrolet, 1969 or 70 Chevy full-size right here, Impala, typical stuff. You'd see these everywhere. And again, with these tiny little serrations and those little bits of metal that probably were stamped out and wound up in a pile someplace, swept up off the floor and recycled, who knows. But again, a one-piece stamping here, and no separate, oh, there is a separate, okay, the Chevy bow tie is glued in, and I've never seen these things come off. Whatever that adhesive is, it's pretty good. I've never seen one of these things with that thing off. You would tear that apart to get it off. So whatever that epoxy is, it's pretty good stuff. All right, again, Buick Tri-Shield right here. I'm gonna say 1965 or 6 Buick full size, maybe the Electra or the Invicta. And again, a 14, maybe a 15-inch wheel, not sure. But look at this, the cork insert. That's cork. Look at that right there. That's interesting. And that's an anti-rattle device to keep the lucite plastic center from rattling and chucking and, you know, making a Buick owner unhappy that he bought a Buick. This is for Chevrolet, the rattles. I'm kidding. But Buick was a little bit upscale, and they didn't want rattles, and that's how they proved it right there. Kind of cool. Okay, here we go again. full-size Chevy. I'm going to say a 1966 full-size Chevrolet. Interesting, kind of looks like the 3 Mile Island Tower, a cooling tower for a nuclear reactor, kind of a weird deal. But again, it also has the look of an aluminum brake drum with an 8-lug or a 6-lug kind of wheel like Pontiac did in 1959 or 60 through 69. Anyway, just saying the Pontiac 8-lug thing. But anyway, this Chevrolet 14-inch, again with the lucite center, a big one on this thing. And I'll tell you what, the anti-rattle, well, check this out. That noise, look at that. This could have used a hunk of cork, just saying. Ooh. Okay, this is kind of cool. Dodge Polara, 1968, I'm going to say. And there's that Fratzog once again, which Dodge has brought back on the Charger, Daytona, Banshee, whatever they're calling it. Kind of cool, the electric car. I get a shock out of those things. I get a charge out of them, I do. But this is, of course, 1968, 14-incher, and this would have been seen on a Dodge Polara. And look at the multi-piece construction. And even the little towers, these spring towers here, that basically preload the center cap to keep it, I guess, from rattling or something. But it kind of looks like it's a twist off. It's not. But again, I like the red detailing on that, the black here, kind of cool. Dodge Polara 68. And one more, what do we got? Oh, surprise, surprise. Oh, okay, this is gonna be, I think, Plymouth Acclaim, the front wheel drive L-body stuff from the mid 80s, early 90s. It looks like a metal wheel cover, and it is stainless, but oh, it's plastic. So it's basically a two-piecer, and I think it's epoxied together. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, it's pretty well done, but you're not fooling me. That's a plastic wheel cover. The good thing is that the gray plastic behind gives the opportunity to give sort of a darker effect here that shouldn't degrade with time because it's molded into the gray plastic. But again, this reminds me of the mid 80s, late 80s, the Plymouth Acclaim, the front wheel drive stuff, the second generation K cars, if you will, L bodies, whatever the hell they were. But again, there it is, Plymouth Acclaim front wheel drive stuff. So that wraps up the 23rd installment of the Hubcap game. There's a few more to come. We'll do these every 7th video, something like that. But we'll be back tomorrow before Junkyard Crawl here at Burns Auto Wrecking.